Why shouldn't the senators? Why do you oppose them?
I said this morning. I said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again. The Constitution protects executive privilege. There's a reason for that. Despite what Manager Nadler said, you cannot call the executive privilege and other nonsense. There's constitutional privileges at stake that don't just affect this presidency, by the way, that affect the office of the presidency for other presidents that come.
I saw you step out of the chamber briefly. Have you been speaking to the president throughout the...
I would never discuss with you if I had a conversation with the president or why I stepped out of the chamber.
What about the president tweeting during this, responding in real time? He tweeted, "No pressure," for example.
Okay.
During the
What
Democrats'
is his
case.
mood, though?
Well, I'm sure he's fine. I've been in a hearing all day, as you all have been. So, I mean, look, I'm not going to have conversations about the president's mood. I think this whole fact that we're here is ridiculous. I mean, think about why we're here. I said that at the beginning of when we spoke yesterday, which seems like about 2 weeks ago. But the truth of the matter is, why are we here? Are we having an impeachment over a phone call? Or has this been a 3-year attempt to take down a president that was duly elected by the American people? And we're doing this with 10 months to go to a general election. Pretty dangerous for our republic, in my view.
Why not make a motion to dismiss if this is changed?
Because I want to let them try their case, and we want to try our case. Because we believe that, without a question, the president will be acquitted. There is not a doubt. All right, one more.
Are you ruling out a motion to dismiss at any point during the trial?
Those of you that know me know I don't rule out anything. Nothing is ruled out. But at this point, the way the procedures are set up, the way the procedures are set up, at this point, here's what I believe is going to happen. It looks like they're going to spend tomorrow and Friday. And then I suspect we'll start on Saturday. And then we'll go probably another day or two. But who knows? I mean, we've got to make that determination with our team.
And then what do you think happens after that?
Then there's questions. 2 days of that. Then there's probably a half-day argument on the will there be witnesses or not. So that's probably a day.
What's your prediction on where...
Look, my prediction is the president of the United States will be acquitted of the...
On the witnesses.
You know what? I don't predict on witness. I'm prepared. All right.
You don't think the president tweeting during any of this is affecting the senators when they read the tweets?
I'm not concerned about that.
Some Republicans have said
Last
that
question.
they found it illuminating, enlightening. They're not saying that, obviously they automatically buy the Democrats' case, but does that concern you?
Illuminating, enlightening, and I'm not questioning what you're saying. They said I haven't had a chance. I mean, obviously I've been in the proceedings. Is there anything we learned today that we have not heard for the last 3 months?
Senator Kennedy said that if you took a poll, 9 out of 10 senators would have absolutely no idea and the 10th would be lying. Are you concerned that...
What do you say?
He said 9 out of 10 senators would have no idea what really went on in the hearings, and the 10th one would be lying. That's his...
Because the hearings don't make sense to people? Is that what they're saying?
No, they didn't pay
attention. He's saying senators have... They're learning stuff.
They're learning.
He's
learned a lot, and a lot of American senators.
Okay. At the end of the day, I believe without question the President of the United States will be acquitted. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow.
I thought it was a really powerful day, and I thought it was a very helpful day, the way the managers laid out their case. They had a great chronological report about what had happened, which is good to have it all in one place. And then I think they reminded us over and over again what's at stake. I'm deeply worried that our democracy is at risk. I don't view Donald Trump as the cause of all of our problems. I think he's made matters much worse since he's been here, but he is a symptom in part of a democracy that's beginning to erode. Those of you that have covered this place for the last decade know what we've done to the Senate's responsibility to advise and consent with respect to judicial nominations. That has been turned from a process that was a solemn process of weighing the qualities of people and not infecting the judiciary with our hopefully temporary partisan insanity, and one that had an independent judiciary. We now risk having that as a partisan, just another partisan arm of our government. And when you look at what could happen potentially here, when you have a president who hasn't turned over a single document, not one document, and not allowed a single witness to testify, and has expressed a view of his executive privilege that looks far, far greater than any other president in our country's history, including people like Richard Nixon. I have a tremendous concern that if he can get away with that, that every president in our future will try to get away with that, and that forever the legislative branch of the Congress will have given up its prerogative as a co-equal branch to do the investigations that the American people have sent us here to do, and to hold presidents, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, accountable to the rule of law. If you can't indict a president, which is their argument, you can't investigate a president, which they're arguing, and then you can't get the documents you need to be able to have a successful impeachment and Senate trial, no matter what the outcome of that trial is. That's a huge problem for the democracy.
Senator, do you think your Republican colleagues are listening to the House managers, or have their minds been made up?
I hope so. I hope they are, because there's a lot at stake. I mean, what Congressman Schiff said at the end is so true. I mean, just to add something to it, you know, it is moving that these Foreign Service officers came and testified, even when their higher level bosses wouldn't respond to the subpoenas, in fact rejected the subpoenas, that they risked their careers, that they risked their jobs. Maybe part of the reason why they did it was that a number of them have been working in countries where there is very little commitment to the rule of law, very little history of the rule of law, and part of their job representing the United States of America is to represent the rule of law in these countries where there is none, and maybe it's that sense of what can happen if you lose the rule of law that made them willing to testify and want to testify. And I'm sure that it was also confidence that people in the Senate, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, want to actually hear this out.
Senator, in thinking about witnesses, when a prosecutor brings witnesses into a trial, usually they know what the witnesses are going to say. So is there any risk to Democrats to trying to bring in people like Bolton and others where you really don't know what they're going to say?
There is, but I think, Congressman Schiff made the point tonight on documents. He talked about, he said, look, we don't know whether these are going to be exculpatory documents for the president or whether they will further suggest the wrongdoing. But that's not, he said we're willing to take that risk, and I'm certainly willing to take that risk.
Senator, do you think, given the votes, the party line votes yesterday and the tone and tenor inside the chamber today, are you more optimistic or less optimistic?
I can't say. I can't, having seen what I've seen done in the Merrick Garland case, it always makes me hard to be optimistic about the degree to which we might be willing to, see the end of our republic. But having said that, I think in the end, people are going to have a very hard time explaining to their constituents why they didn't want to hear the evidence in this case.
People like
members of the Senate,
Susan
any members of the Senate, members of the Senate. And so what I hope the votes were yesterday were a vote that reflected a loyalty that they wanted to give to their majority leader at the outset of the case. I think it was a completely illegitimate set of rules that he put forward. I mean, when you look, they tried to compare it to the Clinton trial. Clinton trial had 90,000 documents at this time. At this time, they had 90,000 documents, and we have had 0 documents. They had almost countless witnesses. We've had a few that are people that have been willing to testify. And let me say this also. I mean, every single newspaper in America, I hope, is covering what's going on here and seeing this as, I think, an opportunity for us all to be fighting for democracy, to be fighting for sunlight, to make sure that a president can't just stiff-arm the American people. After all, this isn't, in the end, about the Senate. It's about the American people and what they're entitled to be able to know in this democracy.
What do you think it'll take to change the dynamic that we saw yesterday, where it felt like it was just a 53-47?
I don't know. I hope that it will be a public outcry that will say, with the public calling into their members of the Senate and saying, don't come home and tell us that you didn't listen to the evidence. We probably don't even want, don't come home and tell us you didn't listen to the evidence. You got to listen to the evidence. No other trial in American history would have been run the way this is currently being run, and that doesn't mean it can't change. I mean, the good news is we can change the rules of the Senate, and I think we will, or I hope we will.
Senator Cruz said earlier today that Hunter Biden's testimony is critical, he said, and directly relevant. Is that a kind of a trade that Democrats would be willing to make, a Bolton for a Biden?
I certainly have no interest in making that trade. I mean, I don't have any idea what the Biden's feeling about it is, but unlike every other witness that the House managers have referred to and every single document that they've referred to, which actually are relevant, it's hard for me to see how Hunter Biden could shed any relevant light on anything that we've heard over the last 2 days. I mean, Senator Cruz can say that, but it's one of the reasons I think we put a vote on the floor last night that would have allowed the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court to decide whether witnesses were relevant or not. We were saying, look, we're willing to, just like your earlier question about other trials when you don't know what a witness is going to say, we were willing to say, we don't really know what the Chief Justice is going to say. And even though he was appointed Chief Justice by Republicans, we're willing to take the chance because we think the American people ought to have the benefit of evidence and of witnesses. So we'll have to keep fighting.
You're among a small group of senators who are also running for president. Can you talk to me a little bit about balancing the two roles as a candidate and as a senator?
I think, obviously none of us that are running for president picked this timing, and I choose not to worry about it because it's outside my control. I've got great people working in Iowa and New Hampshire. I assume, unless the schedule changes, I'll be up in serving in this jury pool, and I think every single one of us is going to take that seriously. I hope that's true.
One thing we saw.
Your Republican colleagues last year have been saying that the trial was getting repetitive in some of the points that were being made, and also
President Trump's own political purposes. It's hardly a perfect call. A call where he mocks our long-serving ambassador, who's had nothing but the best reports from the Foreign Service, and at the same time praises a corrupt former Attorney General of Ukraine, a prosecutor of Ukraine. I mean, hardly a perfect call. I thought the way they laid out the president's public statements, continuing to invite Ukraine to interfere in our election, to invite China to interfere in our election. It's helpful to have that stuff in one place. Some of these things you lose sight because every day, there's just more and more and more of the reality TV show that's Donald Trump. This is not a reality TV show that's going on up here. And when Donald Trump is no longer president, whenever that is and however that is, we are still, I hope, going to be holding on to a democracy and to a Republican form of government after he's left, and after the reality TV show and the circus has left town. These institutions are going to have to endure if the next generation of Americans is going to have anything to thank us for. And that it is unlikely that any member of the Senate is going to have a decision to make where these issues are more at stake in their careers or in their lives than in this impeachment trial, and I hope we live up to it.
Senator.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Yeah. I saw someone already. Yeah.
I think so. Seems like a little bit quiet.
I think everyone's not going to hang around.
It's all right.
I'm Mike Lawrence with the Gallery.
I'm Beatrice. You've met before. Yeah, I was out with Skip for a while. I'm usually the campaign trail, but I was here with Skip. Yeah. That was a while ago. I used to be a host staff for many years. I remember the time. Well, it's very rare that a host staff will not remember a time. Even rarer for a host staffer to go. Well, they run, but they don't win.
It's an outlier.
All right, we'll call it.
Good behavior.
Here. Yeah, I'm with him right now. There you go. No, that's my Yang.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, take care.
You can loosen your Rowie clamp. I will make off with my mic stand and
Abscond with your stand.
take your time.
Oops, wrong one.
Remind me of your name. I'm Michael.
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yes.
Good to see you,
Yeah.
Kevin. All right.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
All right. So we're clear.
Yep, you're clear to go.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
Sayonara.